Take you now back to the 2022 Investing in Africa Mining Indaba. The Minister of Minerals and Energy, Gwede Mantashe, has taken to the podium.
What is important is that today he delivers the address as the President of the Republic of South Africa and the leader in the country. Comrade President, we are asking you to take the stage.
Thank you. Let's be seated, please. Your Excellency, Dr. Mokgweetsi Masisi, President of the Republic of Botswana, Your Excellency, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, the President of the Republic of Zambia, Your Excellency, Mr. Jean-Michel Sama Lukonde, Prime Minister of the Democratic Republic of Congo, Minister of Mineral Resources and Energy, Mr. Gwede Mantashe, Ministers present here and Deputy Ministers, and leaders of industry, labor, and civil society, and distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen. It's a real pleasure to be here at this mining Indaba, a very important gathering of key people who play a vital role in our mining industry in Southern Africa. The mining Indaba is taking place at what you could call an important moment in the global recovery from the effects of COVID-19. Across the world, most industries are having to adapt to new circumstances, to confront new challenges, and also be prepared to seize new opportunities. For as they say in the classics, every cloud has a silver lining, and there must be some silver that we can see in the clouds as they hang over humanity. The mining industry in Africa is no different. It offers a number of opportunities, and as it responds to the effects of the pandemic, this industry also needs to manage the risks and potential benefits of rapid technological change, shifting market demand, climate change, as well as the geopolitical uncertainties that abound. Like all other industries, the pandemic caused significant disruption to mining operations. But once again, the industry has shown and demonstrated its resilience. In South Africa, mining registered growth of 11.8% in 2021, which was the largest across all our various industries in the economy. Last year, the sector recovered production to almost pre-COVID levels. This was the result of significant collaboration between the government, as in the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy, and the Minerals Council South Africa, including efforts to keep the sector operational during the hard lockdowns in the pandemic's early stages. After more than 150 years, mining remains a critical pillar of our economy. I often refer to it that it is a continuous sunrise sector in our economy. Mining is a significant contributor to export earnings for our country. It is an important source of foreign direct investment and directly employs more than 500,000 people. In the past, however, it employed many more people than that, about 500,000 and more. And we expect mining's significance and contribution to our economy to continue growing. Like many other parts of our continent, our country is abundantly blessed with vast mineral deposits that form the basis of the most important applications used in society and economies today. Mining companies see the potential still in South Africa, and may I add, in our region as well, Southern Africa. At the 4th South African Investment Conference earlier this year, investments valued at around 46 billion rand were pledged towards mining and mineral beneficiation. Despite the great prospects for South African mining, we do face significant challenges, which are well known to many of you. It is a matter of great concern that South Africa has fallen into the bottom 10 of the Fraser Institute's Investment Attractiveness Index ratings. We are currently standing at 75th of 84, which is our worst ever rating as a country. This ranking underlies the fundamental reality that South Africa needs to move with greater purpose to remove the various impediments and hurdles and constraints to the growth and development of the industry. We understand very clearly the need to fix the regulatory and administrative problems that have crept into the system. We need to clear the backlog of mining and prospecting rights and mineral rights transfer applications and put in place a modern and much more efficient cadastral system and implement an effective exploration strategy. We understand very clearly the need to significantly improve the functioning of our railways, which have fallen into disrepair, our ports, which are not performing at the level that we want them to perform, and the vital importance of ensuring a secure and reliable supply of affordable electricity. These tasks are at the forefront of our economic reconstruction and recovery efforts, which is now firmly underway. Since the last mining in Indaba, we have made significant headway in driving a program of policy reform for what we call the network industries that are inextricably tied and linked to mining and its operations. This program is being coordinated through an initiative we started, which is operating in the presidency as well as in our treasury, working in partnership as well with the Department of Mineral and Energy Resources, as well as other departments in our government system. An important area of progress is regulatory reform to facilitate new electricity generation by the mining and other sectors, to meet the deficit that we now have with regard to energy generation. Regulations have been amended to allow companies to invest in new generation capacity up to about 100 megawatts without needing to apply for a license. We are working to further cut red tape for the registration of projects, to accelerate the environmental approvals, and to strengthen the capacity of our energy generation company, Eskom, as well as municipalities to link such projects to the grid. According to the Minerals Council South Africa, around 4,000 megawatts or 65 billion rand of such electricity generation capacity investment is in the pipeline and we are told will be implemented. South Africa's energy landscape is being fundamentally transformed to introduce greater competition, more diverse energy sources, and greater energy scrutiny into the future. As we go around the world and see how other countries go about with their energy generation, we've learned lessons, and it is for this reason that we are moving ahead with this transformation. The unbundling of Eskom into separate entities for transmission, for distribution and generation is on track and is set to be completed later this year. This initiative, which we call Operation Vulindlela, is working with the Department of Water and Sanitation to implement a turnaround plan for the issuing of water use licenses that are so needed in the mining industry, something that will enable mining operations to function optimally. We're working towards a target of 80% of all applications being resolved within 90 days. And this will have moved from a process that took 3 years for a mining use license, a water use license to be approved, and we are bringing it down to 90 days. On Transnet, our rail operator, the publication of the white paper on national rail policy outlines our plans to revitalize rail infrastructure and to enable third-party access to the freight rail network. We've heard the calls from industry for private operators to be allowed to operate the country's dedicated coal, iron ore, and manganese lines. We hope that such proposals will be discussed at this Indaba, drawing on the experiences of other countries. Working together with the industry and other stakeholders, we are strengthening the capacity of our security services and law enforcement agencies to tackle what a number of countries are experiencing right now: illegal mining, cable theft, and general damage to infrastructure. We're setting up focused teams in our security establishment to deal with these challenges, and a number of successes are already being recorded. We value our ongoing collaboration with the Minerals Council South Africa to resolve these and many other challenges that are facing the industry. And this is where the collaboration between the public sector, meaning the state, and the private sector is showing great benefit and progress. According to companies surveyed by the Minerals Council, if these regulatory hurdles could be resolved, they would be prepared to increase their investments by 84% over the next 5 years, over and above existing capital investments. Now, this is sweet music to a government which we hear from the private sector, and we will, in our collaboration, continue to ensure that what they have set out to do is achieved. We are committed to mobilizing the necessary resources and providing the necessary incentives for a new wave of exploration, particularly of the minerals required for the global energy transition. The recently released exploration strategy and implementation plan lays out South Africa's plans to move to future strategic metals, yes, such as copper, which is in great abundance in Zambia and the Congo, nickel, cobalt, and rare earths. As a world leader in platinum group metals, South Africa is perfectly poised to take advantage of the growing demand for such metals. At the same time, we must continue to expand the production of some of the minerals that have been the mainstay of our mining industry for years, and for which there is still such great demand. We are keen to harness the opportunities of the hydrogen economy. Last week, I attended the launch by Anglo American of the world's largest hydrogen-powered mine haul truck. And President Masisi was saying, as he looked at the photograph that was taken of me in this massive truck, that I looked like a young boy excited over a toy. Yes, President Masisi, I still get excited over things like that. Now, this truck, it was just amazing to see the innovation that the mining industry is capable of scaling up to. Now, this truck will be powered by an entire ecosystem of hydrogen production centered around the mine itself. And I got so excited and so taken away, President Masisi, I said, when I get fired from my job, I'm going to apply for a job to go and work on this type of truck. We aim to be not only an important hub for the production and export of green hydrogen, but also of green ammonia, green iron and steel, and sustainable aviation jet fuel. South Africa's hydrogen strategy is aimed at stimulating as well as guiding innovation along the value chain of hydrogen and fuel cells technologies. What I saw at the Mogalakwena mine of Anglo American just gave me a look into what the future looks like. This will not only sustain demand for PGMs, but also position South Africa to derive benefits from supplying high value-added products. Now, as a continent that has such a rich abundance of resources, Africa needs to beneficiate its mineral endowments for the benefit of the current and future generations. And as we were walking in, President Masisi whispers to me that, President Ramaphosa, we need possibly to develop a Southern African beneficiation pool so that we harness all our either technologies and resources and make sure that we are able to harvest the best benefits going into the future, because we are the real hub of mining, possibly in the whole world, as Southern Africa. Mining has an important role in South Africa's just energy transition. In our onward march towards a low-carbon future, it is critical that our efforts are both realistic, but they also have to be sustainable. We have resuscitated the successful Renewable Energy Independent Power Producers Procurement Program, which plans to sustainably upscale investment in wind and solar power, which we also have in great abundance. We are diversifying our energy mix under the Integrated Resource Plan. We have supporting legislation to mitigate and adapt to climate change. In line with our just transition efforts, we are in the process of mobilizing international finance as part of the effort to ensure that affected communities and existing industries are supported during the process of transition. It is clear that as our reliance on coal is reduced over time, pathways towards new economic activity needed to be created for workers and affected industries. As we confront the reality of energy insecurity and the development of new energy resources, it is critical that South Africa, like all developing economies, be given the necessary development space, because we are still in development, and that space is absolutely necessary for us to be able to transition in an orderly and in a sustainable manner. Countries on the African continent need to be able to explore as well to extract oil and gas as they find it in an environmentally responsible and sustainable manner. These resources are important for energy security, for social and economic development, and for reducing energy poverty on the continent. And we do not see this trajectory as being mutually exclusive to our focus on moving towards ensuring that we reduce our carbon footprint. It is important that as we undertake a just energy transition, we adhere to the principle contained in the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change of common but differentiated responsibilities of respective capabilities. The growth and development of mining in South Africa will not be possible unless the working and living conditions of the people who work in the mining industry, as well as the mining communities, are improved. Gone are the days when corporates ignore what is happening to their workers in terms of their livelihood, and gone are the days when we ignore what is happening in the communities in mining areas. We now have a responsibility, all of us, as the public sector, as in government, the private sector, to ensure that we have benefits that are going to flow to all those who are involved in the ecosystem of mining. It is important that mining companies engage with labor in a spirit of partnership and cooperation, completely shorn of hostilities that lead to problems that we will be creating for the future. It is vital that mine safety and the health of workers becomes the industry's foremost concern. On this, there can be no compromise. I wish to commend the mining sector for the financial and logistical support it has given to the rollout of South Africa's COVID-19 vaccination program. As of the start of May, more than 75% of mine workers in our country were fully vaccinated, and 66% were partially vaccinated. Drawing on this extensive experience with managing other communicable diseases such as TB, HIV, and other mining sector-related diseases, the industry has been able to manage the COVID-19 pandemic carefully and systematically. And I'd like to thank mining companies for the cooperation that they have demonstrated to us as government. We thank you dearly for the way in which you worked with us. Now, the partnership between government and the Minerals Council South Africa stands as a fine example of how the private sector can support a nation's development agenda. In undertaking its vaccination program, the mining industry has also demonstrated its responsibility to the communities in which it operates and where it is located. It is important that this commitment is sustained in all areas of development, including through the effective implementation of the social and labor plans, responsible environmental practices, as well as local procurement. The future of mining on the African continent, I believe, holds great promise. It holds great promise for investment, for industrial development, for growth, and for profit for the corporates. We have a shared responsibility as governments, as mining companies, as labor, and as communities to realize that promise and to make it happen. As the government of South Africa, we are firmly committed to fulfill our responsibilities and to implement all the processes that need to be implemented to ensure that there is growth and that there is sustainability as well as prosperity of the mining industry. We are firmly committed to ensuring that mining occupies its rightful place, as it has always done in the past, as an industry of the future, an industry that has given birth and strengthened our industrialization process, our manufacturing processes, this having been the very first industry that has propelled South Africa to be the industrial and manufacturing powerhouse that it is. It is important for us as the government of today to ensure that we do support the mining industry and make sure that it continues to grow. For it is not only a great employer of the people of our country, but it is also a contributor to the growth of South Africa. And many would say South Africa in the end is what it is in terms of economic progress it has achieved because of mining. And may it continue to be so. And I'm delighted to see so many of you here participating in this Indaba, but also continuing to invest in the mining industry, not only in South Africa, but also in the various other countries on our continent, but more especially in Southern Africa. So thank you for being here, and thank you for continuing to invest. Thank you very much.
Now, Your Excellencies, Honourable Ministers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, our presidential vote of thanks will be done by Mangaka Mesu from Remgro. Please put your hands together for our official thanks.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. President, thank you for your remarks this morning. I also wish to thank you and the chairman of the Mining Indaba for creating a platform for young people. The President's words this morning remind us of what an American author and public servant once said, which is, we inhabit a time when history and faith converge to yet again challenge us with change. And as the President reminded us this morning, we can either rise in opposition or see opportunity. As the next generation of future industry leaders, we refuse to believe that our future is riddled with chaos and failure. We choose to answer this.
Well, we come out of that. Mining has seen growth in the past year, and South Africa is moving ahead with Just Energy Transition project. The unbundling of Eskom into generation, transmission and distribution units is on track to reduce load shedding, and the Vulindlela initiative between the Presidency and National Treasury to accelerate the implementation of structural reforms. Latest report has demonstrated significant progress on several important commitments. This is the President Cyril Ramaphosa addressing the 2022 Africa Mining Indaba. He says Africa is possibly the real hub of mining in the whole world. He touched on the specific programs, including the integrated independent power producers program. He spoke about the importance of mine safety and the health of mine workers, saying 75% of mine workers in the country are fully vaccinated. Of course, we'll continue to watch events at this very global event that has got about 2 more days to go.